Today I'm going to talk about why you don't feel better when you leave a narcissistic relationship and what you actually need to do to start feeling better instead. So if you don't know who I'm Louise Ann. I'm a female empowerment coach and I am a narcissistic abuse recovery expert. And what I want to talk about is the fact that very often there is expected to be an instant gratification or an instant kind of improvement in mood, in feeling, just hang with us, when it actually comes to leaving a relationship. When you leave an unhealthy relationship, you tend to feel better. And that applies to a lot of relationships that you have that come to an end, but it doesn't apply to an abusive relationship or a narcissistic relationship. Because there is a difference in the dynamics of the relationship when it is psychologically abusive. So a lot of people expect an instant relief, and very often when an abusive relationship ends, there tends to be a downward spiral in how the victim feels. And it's at that point that the narcissist tends to, if the victim was the one that chose to end the relationship, it's very often then that the narcissist will swoop in and will do something called hoovering, which is where they try to get the victim back under their control. And it's because the reality is that a narcissistic relationship is more like an addiction than it is a relationship. What happens is the narcissist will get you into an experience of what's called trauma bonding. And it's where they will love bomb you and you will experience massive amounts of dopamine. You will experience huge highs of feeling like euphoria. And these highs are then experienced, and the narcissist will then cripple you with a low, and that will be the stress, the anxiety, the cortisol that will then flood your system. So they will take you out for a date and everything will be going incredibly well, and they will be, lavishing compliments upon you, and you'll be feeling like this is it, this is how I want them to see me, and this is how I want to feel in the relationship. And next thing you know, they're angry. And you don't know what you did to make them angry, but of course it's your fault that they're angry. And so you need to then analyze all of your, what did I say? What did I do? What didn't I do? Did I not show enough appreciation? Did I not flatter them enough for the attention that they were giving me? What did I do wrong? And then the dopamine, the love drug that you were feeling, the hormone in your brain, then switches and suddenly your brain is filled with cortisol. Your brain doesn't work well with both of these hormones pumping through it at the same time. And because the dopamine didn't have enough time to flush out of your system before the stress came in, that means that your brain will start to feel very foggy, memories will become disorientated, you will be very open to criticism and everything else because your boundaries are down, because your brain isn't functioning clearly. So this high and then low is very similar to what an addict will get when they take a drug like heroin or speed or whatever else. You can tell I don't know much about drugs, but it's very much like the high-low. It's the dopamine, then the cortisol. It is the euphoria and then the crash that comes after it. And so when you have gone through that enough times, you become addicted. It's what do I need to do? Who do I need to be in order to get that dopamine? Who do I have to be in order for the abuser to give me that fix? So they become your dealer per se, and you become addicted to the emotional highs that they provide you. The reality is that then after a relationship ends, you need to go through withdrawal. You need to allow your brain and your emotions and your hormone levels to all reach a plateau where they start to even out. So when you are in that withdrawal, it can be very, very difficult. Because just like withdrawal from any drug, it's not easy. It's why so many people relapse, and it's why so many victims of narcissistic abuse return to the abuser. It's because of this addiction So when going through that withdrawal, it can be very, very difficult. So there is an emotional residue that is left from the relationship, and that can cause this difficulty with going through this withdrawal and allowing yourself to process that. So it's not an instant relief that you get from the relationship ending. It also depends on how the relationship ended. If the victim chose to end the relationship, it means that you don't get to relax, you don't get to rest on your laurels, because very often a narcissist will become very angry at losing control of somebody that they once had control over. So they will try and destroy the victim, which means you come out of an abusive relationship and you enter a battlefield with somebody that once declared they loved you, that knows your weaknesses, that knows your vulnerabilities, and they are now out to destroy you. They are trying to tear you down. And you've got to get through this battle. You have got to make sure that you keep going, that you keep working for, moving forward. It is a battlefield. And so that happens after you've left the abusive relationship. So not only have you got all of this going on, you've then got all of the internalized beliefs and all of the internalized self-doubt. So not only did the abuser, not only did they criticize you, what they also would have done is they plant seeds and doubts and internalized beliefs within your own brain. So you then become your own abuser. You then become your own bully. The things that they used to say to you, you have heard so many times, you now believe, and you're saying to yourself. They don't need to say it to you anymore because it's already up here. And so you will play that on loop, you will play that on repeat until you actually do the work and heal it and overcome it. It sounds horrific, and that's because it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and I'm not gonna lie to you. And this isn't one of those things where I'm gonna turn around and go, it's not. And I know because I've survived it. I know because I've gone through it. And I know because I wished somebody had told me that it was gonna be so hard, because at least then I would have known what I was letting myself in for. And I would have known that when I was on that battlefield, that I wasn't doing anything wrong because I was fighting this and I was struggling. It was actually a really horrific time. So this is the validation that if you've gone through it, then you should be so proud of yourself. And if you are going through it, keep going. You are doing incredibly well through a very difficult experience, one of the toughest that you will hopefully ever experience in your life. On the other side, or when you are on your way out of that, when you are leaving the relationship, what is very important, you need to have a support system. You need to have people that you can talk to honestly about what is going on, what has happened, and everything else, that aren't going to keep you in victim mentality and keep pandering to you and allow you to maintain that powerlessness, but actually just as a sounding board. You need somebody that you can offload your thoughts onto while your brain is still healing and putting all of your thoughts in order. So you need somebody that you can talk to about it, somebody you can offload on, somebody that will just listen, not to try and make sense, not to try and fix it, but just so that you have someone that you can direct all of this to so that you can hear it back. So you need a support system that will become a sounding board for your ramblings. What you also need is you need to be compassionate with yourself. This is not going to be quick. It is not going to be effortless. It is going to take a constant conscious effort to keep moving forward, and it sounds exhausting and at times it feels like it, but it is 100% better than being in that relationship until they break you and discard you. If you have been discarded, I know what that feels like. And it's brutal. And honestly, I found leaving a narcissist and having them try to destroy me was actually easier than being discarded and having them disappear. For me, it was the difference between the two. Because at least when I made the decision to leave the relationship, I felt like I had some power. Like that gave me a strength. Whereas being discarded was very, very difficult, and I felt worthless, and I didn't feel like I hadn't experienced any empowerment when that relationship ended. So there is a difference between the two. But what you've got to realise is no matter what, you've got to keep going. You've got to keep working on yourself. And there is life after abuse. There is incredible experiences. There is a beauty to life after abuse. And you deserve to experience that. And simply because you have to go through this hardship first, it doesn't mean that it would be better if you went back. Like, I know that my life is better because I left. And I left as soon as I could. It doesn't mean that I left when I should have. I probably should have left earlier, but I left as soon as I could. And there is a life after that. There is experiences that you will have. There is a freedom that you will experience. And all of that will be on the other side of this battle, and you are going to get through it, and you are going to be okay, and you will find that. But first you need to realise that there is this hardship. And if you have struggled for a long period of time and you've not known why leaving a relationship was so difficult, then you should probably have a look to find out whether or not it was a narcissistic relationship. Like, what was happening within that relationship that made the end of the relationship so difficult for you? Like, psychologically, mentally, look into it. And when you know what you're overcoming, it can kind of drive you forward, because you're like, I know I'm not going to put up with that again. I know I don't want that in my life. And so you keep moving forward. So those are the reasons why after you leave a narcissistic relationship, or after a narcissistic relationship ends, you don't instantly feel better. You don't get that relief of, oh my God, thank God that's finally done. Like, it's an ongoing process. The end of the narcissistic relationship is the start of the journey to finding yourself. And that's what you're now on. And that is a beautiful place to be. It is everything that life should be, a journey to discovering who you truly are. And I am so proud of you for being on this journey, no matter whether you chose to be on this journey because you ended the relationship, or because you were put on this journey because the narcissist discarded you. It doesn't make any difference. You are on this journey and you get to discover who you are. In the next video, I'm talking about woundings for relationship woundings. So you can watch that, find out like what impact this will have on the relationships that you have in your life, because it is important to know the impact this will have on future relationships that you have in your life. But for the moment, take some time, look after yourself. If you want to go ahead and watch that video. But otherwise, just take some time for yourself. You deserve it. You're doing well. I'm proud of you.